This is the story of Silent Chains. A young girl was born in a village. She grew up playing with the neighborhood kids, going to school, getting good grades, and helping her mother at home. She always said that she wanted to finish university and become a teacher. But her relatives said education is useless for women. They said that instead of going to university, she should learn how to cook, do laundry, and other housework, because a good girl should be ready to serve her family. The girl really liked her school and her teachers, but one day her father came to her and said, "You're 16 now, and it's time to find you a husband." The girl was shocked. She said, "But I'm still in high school. I want to finish my education." Her father slapped her and said, "What do you know? You're just a stupid girl. He's at home, no at school. Who's for you?" And so the girl had to leave school and marry a stranger nearly 10 years her senior. On her wedding night, the bride cried. She missed her family, her friends, and her school. The bride's mother came to see her and said, "Don't cry. You're a lucky girl. You have a nice husband and a big house. Now your life is set." Then the mother left. The bride cried even harder because no one asked her if she was happy or if she liked her husband. Nobody asked her at all. No one cared. The next morning, the bride got up early, made breakfast for her husband, and did all the housework. She felt like a servant in her own home. She was only 16 and already a prisoner in her own home. She wanted to scream, to break something, to make some noise, but she didn't. She stayed quiet. She thought maybe if she was very good and kind, her husband would let her go back to school. But he didn't care how much work she did. He didn't even say thank you. He just kept using her like a servant. One day, her mother-in-law came to visit. She saw the bride sitting quietly and said, "Why aren't you doing anything? You should be cleaning the house." The bride said, "I was just thinking, maybe I could go back to school." Her mother-in-law slapped her and said, "What are you daydreaming about? Your place is here. Do your work and shut up." Then the mother-in-law left. The bride started crying. She hated her life. She hated her relatives. She even hated her parents for selling her to that monster. After her mother-in-law left, the bride went to her room. She took out her books from her bag and started reading. As she read, she remembered her old life when she could go anywhere and do anything. She missed those days so much. She wanted to go back to school, but she couldn't. She was trapped inside this house with no way out. Years passed. The bride had 2 kids. She was still a prisoner in that house, but something changed inside her. A tiny spark started glowing inside her. It was the memory of who she once was, a strong, smart, and independent girl. She was tired of living like a robot, doing housework, taking care of the kids, and serving her husband. She wanted to scream, to run away, to do something crazy, anything to put an end to that boring and painful life. But she knew if she did something wrong, the whole society would blame her. One day, while doing laundry, she found an old magazine. On the cover was a famous actress who looked very sad. The bride thought maybe she could take some acting classes and become an actress when her kids grow up. Maybe then she could have a life of her own. Just then, her husband came by and said, "What are you doing? Why aren't you making food?" The bride got scared and quickly hid the magazine. She knew if her husband saw her reading or doing anything for herself, he would get angry. She had to pretend to be a good little girl who knew nothing but cooking, laundry, and housework. That night, after everyone went to sleep, the bride took out her books again. She started studying secretly. Every night she would study a little more than the night before, That tiny spark inside her was growing bigger and brighter. The story of Silent Chains shows the fight between tradition and freedom. In many countries, girls are forced to marry strangers. They have no say in choosing their partners. After marriage, they become someone else's property and have to do household work. They can't go to school or do anything for themselves. They become silent because society won't let them speak up. Their chains are not made of metal, but of rules and traditions. They say knowledge is power. It can open doors, break barriers, and set you free. But what happens when that knowledge is used as a weapon? What happens when it's hoarded, controlled, and used to keep people down? That's what this story is about. This is an Indian village. This is a school. This is a girl who wants to study but isn't allowed to. And this is her story. It's a story of silent chains, of barriers that aren't visible but are deeply felt. This is Rani. She lives in a small village in India with her parents and 2 younger siblings. Ronnie's mother died when she was very young, and since then her father has remarried. Now, he lives with his new wife and kids, while Ronnie and her grandparents live separately. Despite the distance, Ronnie's stepmother and father always find a way to keep tabs on her. They keep a close eye on everything she does, every step she takes, because they know that Ronnie is intelligent. They see how bright she is, which is why they want to keep her trapped. They don't want her to grow up and become someone who can think for herself. But Ronnie finds inspiration in other, educated women in her community. She sees how they carry themselves, how they talk to people, how they make decisions. She wants to be like them, not just because of their education, but because of what that education has given them. It has given them confidence, independence, a voice. So, whenever she gets a chance, Ronnie sneaks into the house of a village elder. She studies by candlelight late at night. At first, it's difficult. The light flickers, casting long shadows that dance around her. The air is thick with the smell of kerosene, but as the oil lamp glows brighter, so does Ronnie's resolve. With each page she turns, her inner strength grows. She knows that one day her father will find out. She knows that her stepmother won't be pleased, but she can't stop now. The hunger for knowledge, the thirst to quench her curiosity, it's just as strong. So she keeps studying, dreaming of a future where she can break free from the shackles that hold her back. One day, Ronnie's friend Bina comes over to study. She finds Ronnie's books hidden under a pile of clothes. At first, she's shocked, then angry. She confronts Ronnie, asking her why she's been hiding something. So important, Ronnie hesitates, but she knows that she can't keep living in fear. So she tells Bina everything. And as she speaks, Ronnie's fear turns into determination. She realizes that she doesn't have to do this alone. She has Bina, who listens patiently, who understands her struggles. And at that moment, something shifts between them. It's a silent promise, an unspoken vow to support each other, to push each other forward. From Tenon, they dream of a future where they can go to college, get good jobs, and make their families proud. They talk about traveling to far-off lands, seeing the world beyond their village. Their friendship becomes their lifeline, a rope cart that carries them across the rough terrain of their circumstances. Tenondai, Binastate shamas about their plans, that it's time to chase their dreams. But Ronnie is afraid. She knows that her father and stepmother won't be happy. She can already hear their voices echoing in her ears, telling her to be realistic, to give up on her dreams. However, Bina is adamant. She believes that if they don't try, they'll never know what they're capable of. So she convinces Ronnie to take a small step, just one class, one teacher, one book at a time. And that's exactly what Ronnie does. She starts attending classes at a local library. She reads books, solving math problems, learning new things. She even joins a computer class, eager to learn and grow. For the first time in a long time, Ronnie feels a sense of freedom. She realizes that education isn't just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about empowering yourself, about breaking free from the chains that hold you back. Ronnie's transformation doesn't go unnoticed. Her father and stepmother, despite their disapproval, they start paying attention. They see how much she has grown, how much she has learned. And in their eyes, there's a flicker of fear, the realization that they can no longer control her. In fact, one day Ronnie's father comes to the library to confront her. He wants to know why she's been spending so much time there, why she's been neglecting her duties at home. But instead of arguing, Ronnie stands her ground. She tells him about her plans, about her desire to study and become something more. And in that moment, something changes. Perhaps it's the fire in her eyes, perhaps it's the conviction in her voice. What vérité, Ronnebeck? He sees the determination on her face, the hunger to learn, and he realizes that he can't hold her back anymore. The story ends here, but we all know what happened next. Ronnie broke free from her chains. She went on to study, to travel, to become everything she was meant to be. And every step of the way, she remembered the sacrifices made, the battles fought, and the dreams that were chased.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe please. Please subscribe.